The Hallowed Sepulchre was an agility course released on June 4th, 2020. It required 52 agility to access the first floor and an increase of 10 levels in agility to access every subsequent floor, with the max floor, floor 5, requiring 92 agility to access. Because of its high requirements, it yielded the best drops and the best XP rates. These rates were seen as a little too high though on release, and on June 12, 2020, Jagex nerfed the last floor rates, as well as some of the other floor rates in an effort to reduce XP rates back to their pulled amount. On June 25th, this trend continued when Jagex rebalanced the agility course even further. Many complained on Reddit and other forums that these nerfs to the Sepulchre, given its difficulty rate, would kill the event and make it dead content. In an effort to test this, I'm going to do 5 hours of Sepulchre post-update with no prior experience in order to give you guys an idea of whether or not it's still worth it. But before we hop into the video, remember it would mean a ton to me in the channel if you could go down below and like and subscribe, as it really does help the content get out there and get noticed. Alright, so I just watched a few guides on how to do the agility course, so I wasn't really going in completely blind, but to be fair, I really don't know how much I learned from those guides, which I actually think is a good thing because I want to sort of emulate the progression of having to learn the course from nothing and sort of factor that into the final loot and XP rates you guys will see after the 5 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 hours on the timer now and get started, and I'll be back at the end of hour 1 with some results. Also, real quick, I forgot to mention I'm only 82 agility, and my strategy for the course is only going to be to loot floor 3 and floor 4. I'm not going to loot any other coffin. Okay, so here I am after hour 1, and goddamn was that hard. To be honest, the first time through the course was honestly, I would say, harder than my first raid at Raids 1. To be fair though, I did have a tutor running me through my first raid, and with this I kind of just jumped right in with little to no help, so maybe that factors into it, but nonetheless, this is definitely difficult content to learn, to say the least. After 2 to 3 runs, however, I did start to get the hang of it and the timing down on events, which is probably a faster learning curve than with Raids 1, but I would say that going through your first few times in terms of difficulty is very comparable to going through your first few raids. In terms of XP, as you can see, I got 27.5k XP that hour. I expect this rate to double in the next hour or two, but we'll see depending on how much I mess up in the next few hours. In terms of loot, I got 260k that hour, which honestly isn't that bad, but that's mostly because I got super lucky and pulled a strange lockpick in my second run. I also got 35 marks, which is a bit lower than I expected, but yeah, the first few runs were not pretty to say the least. My initial impression of the content is that while the content is okay and it could be fun for some, it's not my favorite because it sort of relies more on the annoying mechanics in old school RS in my opinion. What I mean by this is that oftentimes I find myself failing events due to like the weird pathing mechanics of the game and the latency between clicking and actually moving. And these mechanics are not the ones I'm super fond of in old school RS. I don't mind them and they're unique to old school RS, so I tolerate them and sort of love and appreciate them in a weird way, but I really don't know how I feel about an event designed around them, if that makes any sense. Anyways, I'm going to reset all my XP and we'll see how I do for hours 2 and 3, and I'll be back when I'm just a little more than halfway through the 5 hours total. So I'm now halfway through the 5 hours and I'm oddly starting to enjoy the agility course much more. It's slowly becoming less tedious and more like muscle memory, which is great because it means I can look away from the screen more often and sort of watch Netflix or something else on the side. I still find myself getting hit now and then by things I don't think I should be getting hit by, but like everything else, I'm getting more used to it as I go on, which is also great. One negative thing I will still say about the course is that I'm only getting around 50k XP an hour, which is 5k less than I can get just doing Seers with the Diary, and Seers with the Diary done is so brainless and AFK that I don't know if the XP difference is worth it. Additionally, I'm only getting 250k-ish an hour in loot, which isn't that much more than just doing Seers, considering you get 15 marks per hour doing Seers, and a mark is worth 8 to 9k, which is about 120, 135k loot per hour. So you're only actually getting 120k more gold doing the Sepulchre, but when you're a max main or close to a max main, that gold difference doesn't really seem worth it at the expense of XP. Anyways, I'm now gonna reset the XP and loot trackers one last time and finish up hours 4 and 5, and I'll be back at the end of them with my final thoughts on the agility course. So here we are at the end of the 5 hours, and I think my conclusion is that this course is not really worth doing unless you either really want to recolor your pet or graceful, or you have 92 agility. Because even towards the end of my 5-hour trial, I was struggling to get similar XP rates to that of Seers while still putting in considerably more effort. With that in mind, I think you're just better off AFKing and watching TV at Seers than trying here and getting maybe 5k more XP an hour. I will say though, for those of you who have 92 agility, this place can be worth doing because the final floor increases the GP and XP rates considerably, and that makes it more competitive with the other late game rooftop courses. But yeah, otherwise, I just go to the rooftops for anyone who's lower than 92 agility and also doesn't care about cosmetic stuff. So yeah, that's my analysis of the new agility course after all the reworks. Hopefully you enjoyed it and it helps you decide what you should do in game with your time. Also remember to like, comment, and subscribe as it really does help. And remember, my name is Jamie and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace! I do a good